Been coming up Warsop pit top for many years, 20 years probably, I would imagine, up this bit. And of course over that time it's changed enormously. These trees, for example, are no taller than I was when I first come here, and it has grown up and now provides a sheltered and shady path. And this is what, like all pit tops, they're good examples of how species diversity changes over time. From when a site is first landscaped or constructed, the original pioneering species that are quick to make use of new habitat move in, and as conditions change through plant growth, they tend to get replaced by other species. So there's always a changeover on any site. This path, or ride as it is now, used to be a lot more open, considerably more open. And the ground floor was probably a bit more diverse, but it had more room. And over the years that's gradually sort of been replaced by the fauna of a more arboreal nature. Coming out some big words now, aren't they? But of course the shady conditions offered by trees mean that those species that like shade and are more tolerant of shade can thrive. And where's that little Vollicella pollutions hoverfly there, one of our more spectacular hoverflies. So by visiting a site over a number of years, to a degree, yeah, you're recording the same species, but you're recording, if you actually record the numbers, you're recording how the numbers and populations of that particular species, or any particular species, changes over that time. But of course over that time, new species move in to a site, or even just pass through, might just be a casual sighting. And that's why it's important that sites are visited regularly to monitor that change. Plus you're also improving your own knowledge. It's not all about Google, you know. Google can only tell you so much. You need to get out there yourself and find it out. Thousands and thousands of these at the moment. These being the larvae of the older leaf beetle, which do great damage to the leaves of older trees, especially the rough-leaved ones. So you may well be thinking, well, if they eat the leaves, what are they doing on the trunk? Well, the simple answer is when you look at the older leaves are the brown things. This is what they do. They skeletonize the leaves rather than eat the whole leaf. They just tend to eat through the top cuticle, top surface. And this is what they do, look. And when you look at this trunk here, I mean, put my hand there, so it's only the width of my hand, so it's about 4 or 5 inches wide, this trunk. And all the little black things on this trunk, as we go up and up and up. And if we continue to go up and up and up, they're all searching for new leaves. But on these particular trees, they're out of luck, because they've eaten them all. And it's quite amazing, really, when you think about it, that this species was thought to be extinct a few years ago in the UK. Suddenly appeared sort of Manchester area and spread outwards from that area, especially going southeast into Nottingham or Nottinghamshire. It's now right through Nottinghamshire. As I look at more damage, so from being a big rarity, they are now unbelievably common. And they don't just stop, they're older. This is birch, same kind of damage. Perhaps not as bad as the damage on alder, but damage enough. So within a few years, within 5 or 6 years, it's gone from being new to Nottinghamshire, known from a couple of locations, now being found throughout the county. It should be in southeast Nottinghamshire. If you look on riverside or lakeside alders, you may well see damage like this. And that's how incredible the spread has been, and how quickly populations build up. An older leaf beetle here, the population, we're fortunate enough to have been able to have monitored it since it first appeared here a few years ago. And now, well, in a couple of weeks' time, it's going to be blue here, because they are a beautiful beetle, admittedly, but they do a lot of damage. So we're coming out of the shade, continuing our walk around this bit of Warsop pit top. And pit tops, one thing they offer is a wide variety of habitats. We've had the wetland area, we've had the sheltered young woodland, and now we're coming out onto this. And just look at the flowers. Now bear in mind, this don't get cut, maybe for a strip around this little bit of a path. But just look at the abundance of flower. Lots of knapweeds, loads and loads of bramble flowers, ragwort and wild carrot on that banking, which looks lovely. Thistle on this near side banking, even a few teasel, look, great for wildlife. More wild carrots, lots of bramble, lots of rank grassland and associated crickets and grasshoppers. Here's an interesting fly. This is a Protocalifora. There's only 2 species that does this, and what it does, and makes them unique, the 2 species, is that they fold the wings along the back. All the Califoridae flies don't do that. And you'll often get these on bird droppings. It's an easily identified, if I remember right, this is the female, and they are sort of sexually dimorphic, but identifiable by how they hold the wings. Not just a blue bottle. When you look at it, nothing like a blue bottle. And here's another Sarcophagidae. Briefly. But anyway, just look at this. A flower-rich, grassy habitat. The best legacy that coal mining in Nottinghamshire and the UK could ever have left. Now, I'm being quite honest with you. That view there could be somewhere in Austria or Switzerland. Might seem daft, but really, the joy of these places, when you compare this pit tip and a lot of the other ones up in the Mansfield area, it's the general unkemptness. Oh, we've got a common blue here flying around. When you look at this and compare it to those of you that know it, to the wonderful Gedling Country Park. Oh, we've got a freshly emerged peacock here. That's just going to fly on this thistle. Not going to open its wings. But Gedling Country Park has nothing on this place. And this isn't even the best pit top you can find. Yes, it has some great areas. But the reason this is better than Gedling Pit Top, because Gedling Pit Top is completely managed and always has been for the public. And of course those that manage it, they have to introduce the compulsory grazing. You've got to have grazing. Yes, otherwise life doesn't exist without grazing. Well, it does. I can tell you now, this place has a more diverse invertebrate fauna than Gedling does. Even though it's 20 miles further north. Look at this for an Ickenham wasp. If anyone knows it, they can put what species it is in the description or something at the bottom. But as with any site, the more you diversify your interests, the more you'll get out of a site and the more you'll find. Shall we have another go with another sarcophagid fly? This is one of the big Stercoraria ones. If you're a snail, you don't like these things. They're often called flesh flies. Let's say many of them are parasitic on snails. So don't kill them. They won't harm you, they won't bring you death and disease. And there's another fly here which may settle. This is Chloromia formosa, which is the one at the back of that wild carrot head, green abdomen, and a bronzy gold coloured abdomen, rather green thorax and bronzy coloured abdomen. Common, you'll get that in your garden. So we'll have one more scan of this, as thankfully the cloud goes in front of the sun. You won't see this much flower on Gedling Pit Top.